Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SEPS Paranormal Podcast. My name is Paul Cagle, and joining me today on the show is my co-host, Eric Aldridge.
Hey, everybody.
How are you doing, Eric?
Oh, doing pretty good. Jamming out to the music here. I'm not used to be able to hear it on my end.
That's true. Usually, you don't hear any of it because of the way it's set up, but now I have a new mic and a new mixer, so we're trying something different. That's why the music was kind of wonky at first when it started, because I was trying to get the sound right. It was way too loud over here, and I was like, "Holy crap! I can hear music and not anything else." So yeah,
It's a pretty catchy tune. I'll probably get it stuck in my head.
yep, I do sometimes. But everyone, welcome to the show. So Eric, how has your weekend been so far?
It's been good. A couple of members MVP. We went and did a house cleansing on Friday night. That went really well. We tried some new things with it and had some great results. So other than that, it's been doing taxes and hanging out.
Yeah, taxes. It's about that time here in the U.S., so we're all kind of struggling to get it all done, and yeah, lots of fun.
Yeah.
We actually had an investigation Friday night. A couple of us with SEPS went to the old Fayetteville Hospital as seen on Ghost Adventurers, which is about 2 hours away from where we are, and I think that damn it, I'm trying to type something out and I can't do it at the same time. I think that we are going to do a show next Sunday. Whether or not it's going to be live is a whole different story. We may have to pre-record, but we are going to do kind of a investigation update, where we're at, what we're doing, what we've tried, what we shouldn't have tried, that kind of thing. And we'll talk a little bit about what you just mentioned with experimentation you were doing. We'll talk a little bit about the old Fayetteville Hospital, and then we have another investigation next Friday at a person's house, and maybe we can talk a little bit about that too. So,
You guys are staying busy then.
sort of. It's very rare for us. It just depends, and we may have another person joining our group. Someone contacted me, and I told her that if she wants to be the case manager, she's more likely to get in than anything. So we'll see how that goes. I don't think she's interested in the case manager, but we'll see how it goes. But we'll talk about all that next Sunday, hopefully. May not be live. We'll see. Just depends on how things go. But then the show after that, which is going to be April 17th, or I'm sorry, the April 17th is next weekend, or next Sunday. But I was looking to see... The show after that is actually going to be on paranormal portals. We're going to be talking about portals, paranormal portals, what they are, what they mean, how they work, etc., etc. So, you're welcome. That was Eric's idea, in case anybody's wondering.
Unless it's a bad show, then it was Paul's idea.
That's right.
So.
Right. And I noticed that Poopy Lipschen is in the chat room. Hello, Poopy Lipschen. I'm loving you, Poopy Lipschen. It's a friend of mine, sorry. So anyway, the Ganzfeld Experiment. Now, I don't know if many of you have heard about this, but the Ganzfeld Experiment, I'm going to read a little bit from Wiki so that we're all on the same page, but it's from the German for entire field. It's a technique used in parapsychology which claims to be able to test individuals for extrasensory perception, ESP. The Ganzfeld experiments are among the most recent in parapsychology for testing telepathy. Now, the Ganzfeld experiment was introduced into experimental psychology by the German psychologist Wolfgang Metzger, 1899-1979, to test out ESP and how it works. Now, typically what it is you have a receiver who is placed in a room relaxing in a comfortable chair with halved ping pong balls over the eyes and a red light that is shining on them. The receiver also wears a set of headphones through which white or pink noise static is played, and the receiver is in this state of mild sensory deprivation for half an hour. During this time, a sender observes a random chosen target, tries to mentally send this information to the receiver, and the receiver, who has the white noise and the ping pong balls and the red, who is taken out of their body and kind of into a state of different awareness, starts talking about what they see and what they sense and what they feel. Now, I wondered if this could be used for paranormal experimentation. So, we wanted to talk about it. Now, Eric, had you heard about the Ganzfeld before this?
No, actually, I have never heard of it, and so I went to YouTube and watched some videos of people doing it, and just did a little bit of research for the show, and it's very interesting. It to me, watching the people do it, like my first thought on the whole thing is, I don't know that I could sit down and have that sensory deprivation for 30 minutes the first time. I think it's kind of something you would have to build into. I think it could kind of drive you crazy.
Well, it's supposed to put you into like a trance. So it doesn't really drive you. It's not supposed to drive you crazy so much it is supposed to take you out of your body and put you into a trance. Now, some of the interesting things that I found out is that people have been using this on investigations for a while now, apparently. And I wanted to talk about this because, first of all, I want to tell you, if you're a part of a ghost hunting group, don't try this unless you know what you're doing at a very, very haunted location. Because if you believe in possession, you could be setting up the person who is on the receiving end. You could be opening them up wide to something that's there and allowing something to come in and take over. Now, I don't necessarily believe in all that, but if you do, and the person laying there with the ping pong balls over the eyes and the sound where they can't hear anything, might get freaked out and convince themselves they're being possessed, or something might attach to them. I don't know. I suppose it's possible. I won't say possession is impossible. I will just say it's unlikely, But my thought on this was, have a seasoned paranormal investigator in a room where they are safe with another person and put ping pong balls, white noise, have them relax, and they are the receiver. You send a sender into another room, and then they speak out loud what they see or what they feel or what they sense, and the receiver tries to pick up on things that are in the room and what the sender is sending them. Do you think that would actually work, Eric?
I think it's possible. And one of the YouTube videos I watched was a team using this method, and they were out in the woods, and they leave this poor guy alone, with his eyes covered and with the white noise on, so he can't see or hear anything. They leave him alone in the woods, and then the other two go take off. And so I was thinking this guy is bear food, because you're not going to hear a wild animal or something coming. So you would definitely want to use the buddy system. You would want somebody there, watching out for you, because this guy was getting paranoid.
Well, I think it's irresponsible to leave someone alone like that.
Right. You don't do that on an investigation, even when they have their eyes and ears open.
Yeah, the only time you leave an investigator alone in a dark room is when they are brand new and it's their first time.
Right, because, and you want to annoy him and scare him.
I'm just kidding. You don't do that. No, but I think that's irresponsible. I think you have to have someone there you trust. So if you do it, you have to have someone there that will not mess with you,
right,
will not leave you, and that they can 1,000% depend on you, because otherwise you're setting them up for a big old freak out, and that's a bunch of BS. But anyway, go ahead.
Right, right. No, and I mean that's exactly what I was thinking. Although interesting thing did happen on the video I was watching, is the two investigators swore they heard a girl say "help me" out in the woods, and at the same time, he claimed, with the white noise and everything, that he was hearing a female voice saying "help me."
Oh, nice.
So that was very interesting, so maybe it did work, but I felt bad for this poor guy just sitting alone in the woods getting eaten up by bugs and just sitting there just waiting for a bear to come along and grab him, or a
Right.
Sasquatch.
Yeah, because they're just everywhere. But yeah, you don't want to leave your investigators in a dangerous situation in the woods or in a paranormally active home or location, because you are setting yourself up for a lot of, if not possession, then stupidity uh, and nerves and fear, and you don't want to do that. So first of all, don't do that to your people. That's irresponsible. It's rude and it's disrespectful.
Right, right. And I found what you were saying before very interesting. That um, oh, I just lost my train of thought. Poofy's talking in the chat room. So
Welcome to my world. Woohoo! I'm not the only one that does it on this show.
yeah, there we go. Hey, it's Sunday afternoon. But
That's true.
when you were saying you were opening up for possession, and I was thinking kind of the same thing, because when we go on an investigation, we do like to put a protection around ourselves, and when you do that, you're leaving yourself wide open. Your defenses aren't up in any way. I mean, you're more vulnerable than naked ghost hunting. So I
Woo!
mean,
Naked ghost hunting.
I had to throw that in. I'm sorry.
That's what she said. Oh yeah. Um, but yeah, I just I do believe that if you're doing something like that, and here's the thing, you could try it two different ways. You can take, well, I guess you could try it multiple different ways, but you take your psychic, you do the Ganzfeld, and you can either have a receiver or a sender in the other room, or you could just have them say what they're picking up on. And if you have a portable system where you can lead them around, you could lead them from room to room and have your psychic or whomever you have with a white noise and the eyes covered. You can have them telling you what they're picking up on.
You know what I think would be interesting as an experiment, rather than putting one of your psychics in, because they need their senses to pick up on things. Take one of your investigators that you say is dead inside, the ones that don't experience anything, and have them try it to see if they actually pick up on anything. Maybe they could quiet their mind so that things would come through.
Right. It would
So,
it would be interesting to see, and I would love to try this. But I think we are going to experiment with this with the Southeastern Paranormal Society. But I think that the first time we do it, it is going to be in a controlled location, like someone's home, or something like that. It's not going to be in a paranormally active place where people claim demons or throwing stuff around, um, or anything like that. Did I just say dead inside? No, I'm not.
I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I have this theory that there are people who are sensitives who can pick up on paranormal energies and sense ghosts. And Jimmy, there are people like you who are dead inside who don't feel anything and claim there's nothing here or I don't feel that. Well, there's a reason for that. You're dead inside. Uh, and I say that with my investigators because I have 3 people that I can take to the most paranormally active, demonically possessed, crap floating in the air being thrown at people, and nothing will happen when they're around. They're like, nope, I don't believe it's going to happen. Nothing happened. And I'm like, you're killing me here. You're killing me. I ain't afraid of you. You ain't going to cut nobody. But
If you're listening to this live, you should really go to the chat room. It's getting entertaining in there.
yeah, you can check out the chat room at sepsparanormal.org/live and join us in the chat room and hear what we're talking about or see what we're talking about because, yeah, there's always something interesting going on in the chat room, even if it's just me and Eric because we entertain ourselves.
That's right.
You're welcome. But,
But yeah, it's like you're saying though, the first time you try it, you really should do it in someone's home, like one of the investigators' homes or something, just and let them get the feel for it. Because to go to a supposed haunted location, I mean, you're already, you've got your senses up and you're ready to go. You're kind of, pumped up and ready to go. And I think that might just be too much to for the first time that you try this to be in a location like that. So, and like I said too, I think I would want to do it for about 5 minutes and kind of get the feel for it and build up to that 30-minute point before I were to actually try it on an investigation.
So you're saying you can't go for more than 5 minutes?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's what I thought. Um, I would try this. It would have to be someone I trusted a lot, uh, so that I knew they weren't just going to leave me there and walk away. Um, yeah,
Yeah, it's not something you would want to do with a bunch of practical jokers around you. I mean, you'd have to really trust the people, especially the person that stays with you there. I mean, you would have to have a lot of trust that they would, basically watch your back, protect you while you're vulnerable.
yeah, yeah. And that would it would be interesting though to try it. You could even do. I've seen experimentation where some people do two people. They have two investigators that are in a location, and they're telling you what they see, hear, and feel. And some of them think people touching them. Some people see things moving. You know, and it's supposed to take you out of your body when people go through. Excuse me, I hiccuped. Sensory deprivation. They start hallucinating. Miners who are trapped in pitch black darkness with no sound and no light will start seeing things that aren't there. Now, that begs the question, if you are seeing things because you're wearing, this headset and your eyes are covered and this red light is being, shown on your face, are you really seeing what's there, or is it your brain trying to fill that blank space? And that's one of the things I wanted to discuss. What do you think about that, Eric?
Yeah, and well, I was going to ask you something too. Why the red light? Why not just, like a blindfold so that you're in complete darkness? I mean, I mean, you can obviously see red through the ping pong balls, but you can't actually use your eyes. What does that actually do?
I'm not sure why the red, but you can keep your eyes open during the experiment. Um, all of a
Right.
sudden, my
Yeah. Yeah.
computer went
I'm just.
crazy.
I wonder if where the red light shines through, whether your eyes are open underneath the ping pong balls or you have them closed, you can probably still see red through your eyelids. And I'm wondering if that's so you still have some sort of light to be able to see shapes. Or I mean, I'm just kind of confused at what the red light does rather than being completely blindfolded.
I'm not sure. I would have to. I never could find anything that really told why red was used. There may be a reason behind it. I know that on an investigation, we use red lights because it messes with your night vision less.
Yeah.
When you're in a paranormal situation and you're out in the dark, that you use red light to kind of keep your night vision from being
Oh, Paul, you're
destroyed.
cutting out.
That's because I went to a web page to pull something up.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I was going to
Yeah,
see.
it's I don't know. That would be. I mean, there has to be reasoning. I mean, I'm sure when they were experimenting with this, when they were coming up with this whole theory, they tried it several different ways, and they probably had the most success with the red light, and that's why they do it that way. But I was kind of curious of why. But I mean, I guess that could make sense. If the red light messes less with your night vision equipment, maybe it messes less with your own personal night vision. I'm not sure.
Well, here's something interesting. It says, no, the red light is not necessary. The whole hypnagogic experience that researchers studying airplane pilots discovered was that a homogeneous field bored the left brain into allowing the right brain side to be creative, leading to the expression of some forms of ESP. When C. Honorton, Broad, and Schmidt did their Ganzfeld experiment back in the 70s, they used halved ping pong balls to spread the effects of the light. William Broad did a color Ganzfeld pilot experiment around 1975. However, I'm not sure if the best color was ever published. I do know that at the time blue and green got very good results also. It isn't the color of the light that gives one the images. Some people just use light gray walls to stare at. By the way, they just took a fluorescent light and placed colored plastic over the light. Later, it was discovered that the fluorescent lights, if too close to the subject's face, will burn out the corneas in the eyes, so be careful. Chuck Honorton never said that red had to be used in his experiment.
Okay.
So basically, that's interesting that it bores the left side of your brain into allowing the right side to take over and do more ESP or creative thinking, I suppose.
That's very interesting.
That is interesting. So I guess you could use any color light you want. I'm not sure why they chose red. Or the thing.
But they said that they had good results with green and blue as well, so that's kind of interesting.
Well, my question is this: what if you're red-green colorblind? Would that matter?
I'll bet it would have to. I mean, would that? I actually have a friend who's red-green colorblind, so yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's a great question, though.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't do the experiment with them.
Jimmy says nothing there is properly cited, so take it with a grain of salt. Jimmy, just because it's not properly cited doesn't mean they're wrong. Of course, I get what you're saying. It doesn't mean they're right, but this is an official experiment that was done in the 70s. I'm sure there is citation somewhere. That was just someone answering someone's question. So, I don't know.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. The more we talk about this now, I'm getting intrigued by it. Like I would want to try it. And I apologize if somebody can hear my dog barking. I'm muting my microphone and knocking on the window to try to get her to stop.
I don't hear it, so.
Okay, good.
I'm the only one you need to worry about.
All right.
Because anybody else, whatever. I'm sure you don't have to have the ping pong balls over the eyes. I'm sure you don't have to have the red light. I'm sure you can do it with a lot of different stuff. But what they're talking about, hypnagogia, that is where it's like a half awake, half asleep kind of thing that happens. One is hypnopompia and one's hypnagogia. And I think hypnagogia is where you're waking up from a dream, and hypnopompia is where you're falling asleep during, and you start halfway dreaming, and you wake up and you see things in your room, and it's your mind creating things. It's like a dream while you're awake, is basically what it is, and that's what they were saying is this is hypnagogia, but I believe that's where you're waking up.
Okay.
So. Maybe I don't remember. Maybe the other way around. I get it wrong sometimes. But
so with this experiment, outside of the paranormal community, using psychics and ESP, have they had good success with being able to communicate?
I don't know. With the psychics, the psychic side of it, the things that were done in the 70s, I didn't read the results, because I was more curious about whether or not this would work on a paranormal level as opposed to a psychic level. And I suppose it's kind of the same thing, but with the paranormal level, I'm more interested in you picking up on the energies that are in a room rather than a sender sending you images.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I don't know if it would be better to do one or the other, to use a sender or not. But I was looking on here to see if it said any sort of
Yeah, and the YouTube videos I was watching with being used in paranormal investigations, I seen a couple of interesting things like the one I said earlier where they both, claimed they heard a girl saying help me, but most of the videos it seemed like the person that was had the ping pong balls on and everything, they were almost hallucinating more than picking up on anything from the outside. It was their own mind rather than things coming into them.
Right.
So
And
I mean
it's
it would,
possible.
I mean, unless somebody else had an experience and they were able to confirm it, I think that's the only way that you would know, if it's not in their own mind.
Yeah, and it says contemporary research in 2010. Lance Storm, Patrizio Tresoldi, and Lorenzo D'Aricio analyzed 29 Ganzfeld studies from 1997 to 2008. Of the 1,498 trials, 483 produced hits, corresponding to a hit rate of 32.2%. This rate is significantly significant with P greater than 0.001 participants selected for personality traits and personality characteristics thought to be psi conducive were found to perform significantly better than unselected participants in the Ganzfeld condition. So, I mean, 32.2%, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, one third.
So, uh,
Hmm.
and that's from official studies. So, I mean, that sounds pretty significant.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
but again, like Jimmy said, take it with a grain of salt because we don't know what their control methods were. We don't know if the methodology was sound. We don't know if the experimentation was sound. But it's interesting that I mean those were official studies, and a third of the people that were tested seemed to have hits on their experiments. So I don't know. It would lead one to think that this might be something. I don't think it necessarily proves psychic abilities, but there has to be something there for a third of the people to have hits.
Right.
I watched one that was just kind of a goofy test, and it was a shark horse. It was like a shark and a horse that were merged into a picture, and the guy that was on the couch was like, I don't know, I see something dangerous, and I see something with fur, and I see something with maybe teeth and blood, and a lot of things that you would associate with a shark.
Hmm.
Uh,
Except for the fur part. But
yeah, well, no, horses have fur, or well, hair. But he was saying it could. He said I sort of see a pet, but it's not a pet, and a horse could kind of be a pet.
yeah.
But a lot of the words he said, I see grass, and it was running on grass. But he's like, and I see his sky. There was no sky. I mean, he had a lot of misses too.
Right.
But he said a lot of stuff. Like he said, I see dangerous. I see running, which the horse was running. I see an animal that's dangerous and an animal that's a pet, and there was a shark merged with a horse. And so he got a lot of stuff right, but was he guessing or was he actually picking up on what the guy was projecting?
Right. And I guess watching these videos just goes along the same lines as watching any paranormal video from any team. I mean, you have to take their word for it that nothing was pre-set up or, the only way to really prove it to yourself is to, do the research and try it yourself, I think. And you said you guys are going to try that at some point, Paul?
Oh yeah, we're going to try it at some point, even if it's just us sitting at my house doing experimentation and recording the results.
That would
Um,
be very cool. I can't wait to see what happens there.
yeah, whether or not we'll publish anything is a whole other story. But because with my friends, you never know what's going to happen or what we'll do or say, or me, they're not to what I'll say. But I would also like to try it. I would like to try it somewhere safe first. And then I've got a couple of people, like I was talking to with Jimmy, about those in our group who are dead inside. I would like to, or non psychics for you people who are PC. Um, Yes, Jimmy. If I die during it, you can have my stuff. Um, but I would like to take someone who is dead inside, non-psychic,
Uh-huh.
and I would like to try the experimentation with them to see what they pick up on.
Right.
Um,
And I know we're both thinking of the same person.
oh yeah, yeah. I have three of them. Three. You know, I told one of them the other night. I said, I don't know why you bother paying for these investigations. You've convinced yourself you're not going to see anything, so why even bother coming on them? Why bother paying $100 to go to a location just to see nothing? You've already told yourself you're not going to, so why are you wasting your time and money? Oh, I want the experience. I want it. No, you don't, because if you did, you would be more open to it instead
Right.
of convincing yourself that I don't know. It wasn't.
Yes, but
It wasn't quite that. It wasn't quite me saying, "Oh, stop doing this because you're dead inside." But it was pretty much me saying, "Why do you bother?" No, you don't, Jimmy. But Jimmy said he wants to believe. There's a difference between believing and open to something. You know, I believe in the Pope. I'm not open to him touching me. I don't know. That has nothing to do with anything, but
you just wanted to make that statement.
yeah, I did. Um, so do you think you guys would ever try this?
Um, I definitely have a few members that would be open to do it in a hurry, but I would have to do some more research to make sure we're doing it right. I wouldn't want to just jump into it just willy-nilly and, hey, let's try this out. I would definitely have to do some more research. It is a fairly new thing to me. I learned about it for this show. So yeah, I would definitely want to look into it a little
I
bit more,
don't
but
think you could do it wrong. I mean, the only thing wrong that I could see that you could really do is taking people who freak out easily into a demonically, that's in air quotes, active location and doing it without uh, without explaining everything to them. Short of that, I don't see any way you could do it wrong.
right.
It's very simple. It's white or pink noise in the ears. They make generators for that for your iPhone,
Hmm.
and it's ping pong balls and a light. It's pretty much that simple.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
do it for 30 minutes and go from there. I would like to see like other results, like if someone tried a blue light or green light or something like that, just to see. But sort of that, I don't know that you could really do the experimentation wrong.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I'm sure some of my team members will listen to this podcast, and I'll be getting phone calls saying, "Yeah, I want to do this," and so we may just set up something this spring where we give it a shot.
yeah, you'll be getting a phone call from your team who listen and go, "Why do you do a show with him? Seriously, why? Why do you waste your time on that bozo?" You know.
No, no, they love
Uh,
you.
sure they do. Nobody loves me. No, but I don't know. I really want to try this, and I want to do. I wouldn't even mind doing one where we do a person who is sensitive and a non-sensitive in the same room, maybe spaced apart so that their energies don't affect each other in case one has a nullifying field or something, and then saying, "Okay, I'm gonna hold up a card. I'm gonna look at it. I want each of you to say what comes to mind and record the results, and just to see if either of them get anything at all."
Yeah,
But I'm almost afraid that the ones who are non-sensitive, who have convinced themselves that they aren't going to see anything, would just keep their mind blank on purpose, wouldn't let it open up, and would refuse to say anything just because they want to be right. You know.
yeah,
I mean, I don't know
yeah.
that they would do that, but when you get yourself set in a certain way, you sometimes don't want to change from that way. And I'm really afraid that that would happen and it would be just a waste of time.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's something you just set up and do once. I think it would take quite a few times actually to see what happens, and and then also to see if you get used to being in that state, if it gets easier for you too. the more times you do it, are you able to, basically block out the paranoia of sensory deprivation and actually focus on, or, subconsciously focus on what people are trying to send you.
Right. I don't know. I think that the sensory deprivation part of it, once you got into it, would be a lot less than you think it would be. Like, I don't think it would mess with you as much as you think it will. I think that it would. I think it would take a little getting used to because I think it would be weird. But I think that once you relaxed into it, you started letting your mind roam. It would be like being asleep. If you're going into hypnagogia, then that is a trance-like state where your mind is awake and asleep. So I think that you would be relaxed enough once you got to that point where it wouldn't matter.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The more we talk about it, the more I'm kind of interested in it. And, maybe there are 3 or 4 of my team members that we could just get together some evening and try it. Everybody take a turn.
So you would actually try it?
I think so. I mean, if I had people that I trust around me, absolutely. Not with a bunch of practical jokers. But yeah, if I had 3 or 4 people that were going to take it seriously with me, which I do on my team, I think, and it would be very interesting to take somebody skeptical and try it with them too, or skeptical or dead inside, or
Yeah.
and then even the psychics that we use on for investigations, it would be interesting to see how they did too.
So, something interesting that I read here, it says at the end of the 30 minutes, this is from a skeptical website. It says at the end of 30 minutes, the receiver is shown the actual target upon which the sender was focusing, presented alongside with 3 other control objects. The receiver guesses which of the 4 most closely resembles their impressions during the Ganzfeld session. Pure chance predicts a 25% hit rate. But Ganzfeld experiments became famous within the parapsychology community because experimenters consistently found a significantly higher hit rate, closer to 35%.
Hmm.
So that's higher than, but
Yeah.
they're only using 4 things. Um, they're using they're using 4 images, and I think they're telling them. Well, it says at the end of the 30 minutes, the receiver has shown the actual target upon which the sender was focusing, presented alongside with 3 other control. So I guess what they're saying is there are four cards, and they're only looking at one of them, and then they look at it, and the receiver tries to pick up on it. Then at the end of 30 minutes, they show them all 4 and say which one were they looking at, and they have to pick it.
Okay.
So, I don't know if that's the way we would want to do it. Um,
And something like that probably would not be very beneficial on an investigation either. I mean, just that goes, yeah, finding ESP, that goes along with that. But you know, doing a paranormal investigation, that's a completely different thing. It's even when you're with a psychic, you may not see or feel something, but they're saying they feel a little girl in the room or something. So it would be hard to get the accuracy. What would be interesting is to use the obulus at the same time and see if the words that come up, if they got any visions of that. That might be kind of interesting to try too.
yeah, and something else I wanted to try was, of course, you have a video camera and they're recording the whole
Hmm.
thing, but I wanted to have a voice recorder for EVP. And
Right.
maybe ask, is there anyone here with us that can give us a name, and then ask the person that's being the receiver, just say, here are the questions I'm going to ask. When I tap you in the arm, I've asked the first question, that's name. You say the first name that comes to mind, and so you say, is there anyone here that would like to give us a name? Tap the person on the arm, and they say Henry, and you see if you've got that EVP.
Yeah.
Uh, Jimmy was asking about what you said, the
Oh,
obelisk.
the obelisk. It's a piece of equipment for an investigation that we use to communicate.
Yeah, basically, we did a show on the Ovilus, but basically it reads the electromagnetic field fluctuations, temperature fluctuations, uh, fluctuations around the sensor to interpret that into words. And the theory is that once a entity, spirit, ghost, whatever, has time to learn how to manipulate the machine, that it can then produce words and speak through the Ovilus because it's pre-programmed with like 1,500 words,
Right.
and it will speak a word based on the changes in the atmospheric pressure, EMF, everything. So,
Sometimes it can even string words together and almost form a sentence for you.
right, I've had say, I've had it say fairly significant things to me, but then at the same time, I've also had it say, tree, blue, plant. But one of the
Right.
funniest things that ever happened was I had an Ovilus on my iPhone, and I was just kind of messing with it. First time I'd used it, and Lee, one of our investigators, who's very skeptical, and he's one of the dead inside, he said, "Oh, that's a bunch of BS. If that thing's real, what did I used to be? What was my former profession?" And without missing a beat, the thing went police. And that's what he was. He
Wow.
was a police officer. He's like, "You set that up." And I was like, "I promise you I did not." He's like, "There's no way it just said that on its own." I'm like, "Why? Just because you don't want to believe? That's no different than someone who believes everything,
Right.
you know?"
And after that cleansing the other night, that obelisk during that cleansing, I mean, it helped me along and get some answers. I mean, it really tied up some loose ends with the family there. So, but we'll talk about that one next week.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's quickly becoming my favorite piece of equipment for an investigation. That's basically what the obelisk is.
Yeah, Stephen, our psychic, has one, but we didn't use it. We didn't use it Friday night at the old Fayetteville Hospital. We also didn't use the Ovilus on my iPhone just because we didn't. We don't always use it because I'm skeptical. I think it's possible, but I don't know how likely it is that that thing could come up with anything relevant. I don't know. We'll just have to test it out sometime and see what words it comes up with and how often it's right in a location where we know the history or something. That would be an interesting experiment to do too.
Hmm.
But as far as the Ganzfeld, I would like to use it. I would like to use it with a group and just kind of see what happens, and then use it on an investigation somewhere where there's not really dark spirits or entities, and stuff like that. So
Right, right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's one more potential tool you can use to, help people with.
but do be careful with it. If you have people that overreact, um, and people who believe in possession and are quick to jump to conclusions, be very careful about using those people because you're setting yourself up for someone to think they're possessed when maybe they're not.
Right. Yeah. Your woo people might not be the best people to try this with.
Yeah. What is so the other day we were talking and Mr. Aldridge came up with a really good kind of tagline for the show, and we haven't used it yet because I keep forgetting, but that did bring it up. And for those of you who don't know, a friend of mine came up with a saying that's high woo, and that's anyone who gets into a spiritual situation or a paranormal situation and overreacts and faints and falls on the floor and rolls around and pretends they're possessed to get attention and overreacts to any energy stimuli, whatever, and she calls that high woo. So we were doing something the other day, and Mr. Aldridge, my co-host, says, "This is our show, all boo, no woo." And I was like, I like it. That's going to be our new saying.
Did you get that trademarked yet?
No, but I should. I actually looked it up. Pentecostal, a.k.a. Dunlap Baptist. Yes, yes, Jimmy, you are correct in that. But that's our new tagline for the show: all boo, no woo. And you did a picture or a thing for it, but I didn't know if that was the final one, so I didn't put it up.
Oh, you can put it up. I need to clean it up a little bit. That was one that I just did kind of quick, and I need to clean it up, but I just haven't had time with, real world stuff happening lately.
Oh
So,
yeah. Well, I moved in the middle of all that, so I was like, I'm too busy to do all this. I don't have time to put it all together and put it up on the website. And then I forgot about it. And then when you mentioned the woo part, I was like, oh, all boo, no woo. That's the Seps Paranormal Podcast motto from here on
that's
out.
right.
Um, but so final thoughts, because we had a listener question that I wanted to ask
Okay.
from a long time ago that I forgot to ask because I'm retarded. But final thoughts on this: would you do it? Do you believe in it?
The more we've talked about it, now I'm kind of interested. When we first started this show, I thought, I don't know. But now I actually do want to try it. So if I can get a few team members together, I think at some point this spring or summer, we'll get together in a safe place and try it out and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, and I think we're going to try it too. I do see the benefits of it, especially if you're boring the left side of the brain and trying to engage and interact the right side so that maybe more psychics. James Allen Janot. Such language, young man. But
No longer a PG chat room.
yeah, no longer PG chat room. What's funny is Jimmy, his lover Bruce, and one of my best friends, also Bruce. We all three have the same middle name spelled the exact same way. So Jimmy, Bruce, and I, all three have the same middle name spelled the same way. So I thought that was interesting. But anyway, so final thoughts on this. I believe it's possible. I would like to try it out. It makes sense to me. And if you guys have any questions or comments about it, or if you tried it and it worked, or tried it and didn't work, send them to paul@sepsparanormal.org. We'd love to hear about it. He said we are all one another's destiny. No, we are not each other's density.
I thought I should be wearing my glasses. I thought it said dentistry. So
Yeah, whatever. Maybe same thing. We are all each other's dentistry. All boo, no woo.
that's right.
Okay. So, a couple of months ago, probably last year, I had someone send me a question. It was by Taylor Burton, and it said, I've been listening to your podcast, and I was wondering if y'all could cover how to get permission, how to get a permit/permission to ghost hunt in certain areas. I'm very interested and have no clue how to go about it. So, I think that's an interesting question. Do you want to start with this, or do you want me to?
Sure. Well, I mean, in Idaho, we really don't have to have a permit to do it, but permission needs to, like, we have a 3-page document for permission to investigate that we present to the owners of the business or the home we're going to do. That also includes how much evidence we can release, if any, and permission and liability and proof of our insurance. So that's how we go about getting permission, is when somebody calls us, they have to fill out these legal documents that we've had.
I think his question is more the line of, if there's a place you want to go, how do you know who to call and how to get permission to do it?
Basically, yeah, what we do is, I mean, you try to find the owner's name. That's what you have to do. If it's a business, you go in and ask the. I've gone right into a business and say, can I get the owner's name? Can I get his contact information? And then I'll email the actual owner and tell them right up front that, hey, here's what we want to do. Would you be interested in it? And that they are, we move forward. And if they say no, then you can't do it without their permission. So we have to give up on it. But I mean, it is hard to track down owners of some businesses. It really is. Or even private property, private land. If there's an old cabin sitting out in the desert or something you want to investigate, trying to find owners can be next to impossible at times.
Right. And it's like a lot of times we started in graveyards. And so what we would do is we would go into the main office of the graveyard. And remember, it's a business. You can't just go and show up and be okay with it. We go into the main office and say we would like to speak with the manager. I'm with the Southeastern Paranormal Society. We would like to investigate here. Would you be interested in letting us do that? We will contact you and let you know when we're going to be there, when we're leaving. If there's someone you want to go with us, that's fine. As long as they understand there are certain rules they have to follow. They can't bring friends. They can't, it's not a party. They can't drink. There can't be drugs. It's a real investigation. And you can Google it if you have to. If there's an old abandoned building, look to see if it's for sale. If it's for sale, then find out who's selling it and say, here's who I am. I would be interested in investigating it. If it's not sold yet, would you maybe contact the owner for me, or could I contact the owner and ask them if it's okay for me to do this? And you won't always get a yes. I mean, some people, I know there was a graveyard we went to here in Chattanooga that so I'll finish my thought and then I'll tell you what Jimmy said. But there was a graveyard that we went to once that has a dark, dark, dark history of things being done to dug up corpses. And I've got the newspaper article where it happened, and and we went once and they were okay with it. And I contacted them a second time, and they were like, no, because we had another ghost hunting group out here last month, and one of their investigators got a really dark EVP of something saying, I'm going to do something to somebody, and it freaked my wife out, and now she won't let anyone into the graveyard, so call in a couple of years, maybe she'll change her mind. And they wouldn't let us back in. And that does happen. But you don't want to break into a place. You don't want to do it without permission. If it's federal land, you definitely don't want to do it without permission because you will go to jail for that.
Right.
What we do is we contact like a graveyard, and then we contact the police around that graveyard and let them know we're going to be there. You're more than welcome to show up if you want to. Just try not to scare the crap out of us. But we're going to be there. We're going to be investigating. And let them know. When we did the old Fayetteville Hospital Friday, we went to eat at a place in town, and the police were eating there, and one of my investigators said, I'm going to go talk to them and let them know we're going to be at the hospital. And he went over there to them, introduced himself, and told them what we were doing, and just let them know that we were going to be in there in case they got calls of someone breaking in or thought someone had broken in and showed up. So he went up there and let them know. And I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. No, we always contact the police, especially for buildings, like when we do a high-profile business or something. I call dispatch before we start and say, look, we're going to be in here from here to here. So if you see flashlights in the building or people report people being in the building after hours, it's us. Here's my cell phone number. If there's a problem, here, get a hold of me. And so, yeah, that is very smart to contact the police.
Right. And Jimmy in the chat room said, I'm with Seepage, ma'am. Everyone stay calm. Seepage was the name that I originally wanted to name my ghost hunting group, and they wouldn't let me. It was going to be something like Southeastern Educational Paranormal Advanced Group. I don't remember what all it stood for, but I had this big, long thing. They're like, no. I'm like, no, but you could say, oh, look, here comes Seepage. Oh, seepage is all over the place. Have you seen that seepage over there? They are investigating, and they wouldn't let me name it. When I wrote my book, I wanted to name it Southern Hauntings in Tennessee, SHIT, and they would not let me do it. And I'm like, it was so funny. I wanted to.
That's like superhero in training.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was interesting.
That's funny.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that is going to wrap it up for this episode. Why is my music not playing? I hear nothing.
I might have to beatbox our way out.
You might have to. Let me try something real quick. Seriously, why is the outro not playing? I quit. I quit.
Yeah.
I quit.
Yeah. It's in my contract. I got to have music on the way out.
Doo,
I got to
doo,
make
doo, doo, doo,
yeah,
doo, doo, doo.
got to make a big exit.
Yeah, you always make a big splash. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
I don't know why that happened. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Steps Paranormal Podcast. Thanks to everyone who listened. Thanks to Jimmy in the chat room for distracting us and being an ass.
Thanks, Jimmy.
An associate of ours. And next week, we are going to try to do a show on our investigations, what we've been up to, that kind of thing. And then some of the experimentation that we've done. And then the show after that is going to be on paranormal portals. So stay tuned and keep listening to the Steps Paranormal Podcast. You can check out the show at stepsparanormal.org. You can send any questions or comments to Paul at stepsparanormal.org. And I'm just reading what Jimmy said about filming the money shot. I don't know what that means. But anyway, thanks to everyone who listens. If you guys enjoyed the show, leave us a comment, positive review anywhere you listen. And we will see you all next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.